Broadcasting live from North Carolina, and Ontario, Canada. This is Got Me Live, a weekly show where Vicky Rowe and AJ Ermitt bring you the news, metering info, and making discussions from all over. We're talking with mead makers, meadery owners, industry mavens, and influencers. This is Got Me Live, a weekly podcast about mead and the people who love it, and where the mead world is going. Now, here are your hosts, Got Me owner Vicky Rowe and winemaker AJ Ermitt.
And welcome to Got Me Live, folks. We had a pretty good show last week, despite some dropouts, and never fear, the recording actually looks pretty good, and I'm almost finished massaging it. I'm sorry it takes me longer on this stuff. I'm still learning the ropes on a few of these things. But it will go up tomorrow, I promise. I think I got most of it fixed up today. So, and meantime, we have our iTunes feedback. So you can go to the webpage and you can click on the iTunes feed. I believe it should be up sometime in the next 24 hours, according to Apple. It just took them a while to get back to me, Apple being what it is. Apologies out there to y'all who had issues with the stream. We are continuing to tweak and hope to see it improve as we get better and better. Reason why we're late tonight is because the software decided on the spur of the moment all by itself that it wasn't going to see both of us. It would see AJ or me, but not both of us. So go figure. I don't know. But anyway, thanks to y'all for being amazing and letting us find our sweet spot with the new equipment. I think that covers all the stuff I had. I kind of condensed that, didn't I? All right. In non-mead related news, if anybody's interested in knowing more about how we do this, feel free to drop me an email, and I'll tell you as much as I've figured out so far, which is to say there's still things to learn. There's always things to learn. And I am just kind of picking this up as I go and stringing pieces together to make this all come together. So it's an interesting thing. I might even do a podcast, or I might even do a blog post about it. The trials and tribulations of making Got Me live. So, all right, AJ, you want to pick up with the welcome? We got to get our routine going on this stuff, don't we?
All right. Well, finally, welcome to Got Mead Live, a show where you can meet all sorts of people who impact mead making, including beekeepers, honey specialists, and people who turned a hobby into a business. As always, it's party time here at Got Mead Live. Your host is Vicky Rowe, owner of GotMead.com, and myself, AJ Ermitt, longtime winemaker, beer brewer, mead maker, and all-around bad example, really.
And don't forget Keeper of the Toothless Rabbit.
And Keeper of the Toothless Rabbit. He got into the habanero sauce today.
Oh, my God.
I don't know what's wrong with him. And, he didn't stop after the first lick, either.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
He's a nut bar.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, well, he is the Toothless Rabbit. So, all right. We're going to kind of get right into things because we're running a little late. Wait. Did I open the wrong show or something? I know I updated
No, I think
this.
you just didn't update the guest part.
Nah,
the right numbers are on the side, right? Oh.
Yeah, they are. I did update the guest part. That's really interesting. Oh, okay, scroll down. I just went down a page. Okay, tonight we're doing Double Trouble again. This is going to be something I think we're going to do a fair amount of the time. So we'll have probably a pro mead maker or industry influencer, beekeeper, honey provider, something like that. And then we're also I really want to start digging into the whys and wherefores of mead making. And AJ and I have been talking about this, and we're coming up with a list of stuff that we want to work on. So if you have ideas, and AJ already kind of got a thread going in the forum about that, let us know. What kind of stuff can we dig into? And this isn't just Ask Oscar stuff. This is things like we talked about the sour mead thing that's going on last week with Frank. And so trends and things moving forward and really picking apart recipes, best practices, all kinds of stuff. So if you can think of it, let's talk about it and see what we can make happen. I guess we should get into what we're drinking tonight. Hey, AJ?
Oh, probably. I've already gotten into what I'm drinking tonight.
Yeah, me too. I have really nice friends. I pulled in the driveway Monday, literally right in front of the UPS driver, and he leaps out of his truck and says, "Oh, thank God you're home." And I said, "Okay, why?" And he says, "Because I need you to sign for this." And I'm going, "Sign for what?" Thinking there's like an IRS agent waiting to pounce on me or something. I don't know. And he pulls out a wine shipping box, and he says, "Because you got wine." And I'm like, "I got wine?" And I'm thinking, I don't remember ordering any wine, but okay. And I'll take it.
Say no to wine.
Yeah, and I open it up, and it's a Get Well card and a bottle of Huckleberry Mead from Ken Schultz, the owner of Hidden Legend Meadery in Montana. And he's so sweet. He sent me, he felt sorry for me because I couldn't go to the Mazer Cup, and sent me a Get Well card, a bottle. He knows I adore his Huckleberry Mead. Last time I was in Montana, I lugged home 4 bottles of this stuff in my suitcase and had to stuff jeans in my tote bag and to come in under the weight. And it was really cool. He sent this to me just to kind of make me feel a little less awful about missing the Mazer Cup. So if y'all like just good mead. He makes several different meads. They're all great and amazing. My favorite's the Huckleberry. But you can visit them at hiddenlegend.com. And this mead is both tart and sweet, as is the Huckleberry, but it's not too sweet. It's got a lot of body and character. It's a beautiful ruby color, and I think it's just a fun mead to drink. It did get just a tiny little bit petulant traveling, but it was going from through all sorts of weather zones, so I'm not surprised the poor stuff is a little upset. I would be too, But anyway, so hiddenlegend.com if you want to lay your hands on some Huckleberry Mead like I have been blessed in getting. Thank you, Ken. Shout out. You're a really good friend. I appreciate it, man. So what about you, AJ?
That's really nice of him to do that.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I'm finishing a bottle of my cranberry mel that I started in 2010, bottled in 2014. I cannot get over the aroma that comes off of anything I've ever made with a significant amount of cranberries. I mean, even my, pucker puss that I still have to spit out smells amazing. And this particular one, to go with the lovely aroma, it's got about 13% alcohol, and it fits really nicely. It's all rounded out now. There's nothing harsh in it, and I can't remember the finishing gravity on this one, but it tastes a little bit sweet, but I'm not sure that it is. Which I find that with some fruits is after a while you get this perception of sweetness that it doesn't actually show up in the specific gravity. And I know that happens with red currants, and I'm guessing it's also happening with the cranberry.
Okay. Yeah, there's last year at the Mazer Cup they had a lot of currant meads, the red and black currant, and some that were red and black both, and. Hang on, Michael's asking me where to listen live.
Yeah, I've made red currant a bunch of times.
Type and talk at the same time, Vicky. You should get better at this. But yeah, there was some really good ones. I'm typically not a humongous currant fan, at least not currants by themselves, and I had the opportunity to taste some that were pretty amazing. So yeah, you can do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, the only thing I wouldn't do, the only thing I'm not sure of with doing red currants, because I absolutely love red currant wine, is turning it into a mead and having the honey still be perceptible. So that's one of those things that I haven't done. I've used red currants a lot. I've probably gone through close to 100 pounds of them in my brewing career, but I've only ever used the second run for mead because it's a little bit less on the flavor.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had the nerve to try currants.
Well, you know me. I'll brew I'll make a mead out of anything that sits still long enough.
Well, they're not really common down here either. It's it's not a regular berry. I mean, you can get them, but you kind of got to go hunting for them. I don't think they grow wild down here. They might up in the mountains, but not down here in the Piedmont. I think it's too warm. Cranberries are one of those ones that need that cold to do their thing.
Yeah, cranberries, I don't know. I don't know what climate currant's like, but I know they grow really well around here, so they probably don't like it when it's too warm either.
Yeah, that's probably the case. The same problem I have. I've got people texting me going, "What? Where's the link?" It's on the page. It's on the page. There it is. Got Me Live Radio Show. That page right there. That one. the one that says, I'm looking at the page and it says live 3/22/16. It's like, God. Okay, guys, I can only multitask so much before I become incoherent. I'm just not that talented. All right, so tonight we have, as I said, Double Trouble, and we are bringing in both, because the Mazer Cup just got finished, we decided that we wanted to kind of let folks know, what was going on with that stuff. And the American Mead Makers Association has their annual meeting at the Mazer Cup, which, as I said, was last weekend. So we're having Michael Fairbrother, Moonlight Meadery, and Sergio Moutela from Melavino Meadery. They're both on the board at the American Mead Makers Association. And they're going to come in and talk about the AMMA and what they've been up to. And also, like what they have to offer, not just meaderies, but they've actually got quite a lot of stuff that they're doing for mead makers, just home mead makers. So I think it's a really good opportunity to let you guys know, so that you can take advantage of it if it's something that you're interested in. So it's not just for professional mead makers anymore. And then after we're done talking with them, and they may choose to stick around, I'm not sure, we're going to have Pete Bakulic, otherwise known as Oscar, who is president of the Mazer Cup. And he's going to come in and talk about, well, just, what is the Mazer Cup, how long has it been going on, how this whole thing got started, and go into maybe some things about what are they looking for when they're judging. What's a show mead really look like? I mean, what's it need to be? What should you be thinking about if you're going to submit one, not just for making it, but getting it there in one piece? You'd be amazed at how many mashed up bottles we've seen come in. So lots of different things that we can talk about, and of course we'll be taking callers, so you guys can call in and ask your questions. I'm sure I didn't even begin to think of every question that you have. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get our guys in. And of course, I still don't have really good segue music to do this on. So AJ, while I do this, would you go ahead and do that little blurby we've got for the AMMA down there?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
The AMMA is an industry voice for meaderies within or doing business in the United States. This voice is communicated through the press, marketing activities, public relations, and working on legislative issues. We support research and advances in safety, sustainability, education, technology, and raw materials related to mead making. Political influence is exercised to secure fair legislative and regulatory treatment. We are committed to assisting meaderies in producing quality meads by cultivating new ideas, publishing information on best practices, and supporting competitions. AMMA believes in promoting the living and active mead culture, which is thriving every year. Check them out at meadmakers.org.
That's mead-makers.org for those of you that aren't familiar. We have got Michael Fairbrother. Hi, Michael. Hang on. I'm going to go ahead and pull Sergio in. I still haven't figured out how to make the ringing stuff not happen. I'm working on that, so apologies for not being not being sufficiently technologically advanced in this aspect. It's funny how much you find you don't know. So, yeah. And
no worries.
yeah, now we're bringing... Well, you're a geek, so it's like every time you think you know something, there's 27 more things you don't.
And, of course, once you think you got something working, it stops.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just so fun. It was like 5 minutes
Which is why
ago.
we were late today.
Yeah. All right. Sergio, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome sauce. Okay. So guys, as you heard from AJ, the American Mead Makers Association is, well, what it says is the American Mead Makers Association for both home and commercial mead makers. Guys, is it 2 or 3 years old now?
3.
3. Okay, so it was founded 3 years ago, originally by Chris Weber, who is now owner of Dragon's Lair Meadery, which at the time was still in planning. And he ended up refocusing to finish planning because it takes a lot of effort and time to get your meadery to launch. And the AMMA has continued on with a new board, and Michael and Sergio are both members of it. They've been doing a lot of expansion in the association itself, as also in the website and what they're doing behind the scenes, and just a lot of different things. It seems like there's emails and posts every day about new stuff that they're doing. If you're not a member of the American Mead Makers Association Facebook group, you want to be. And if you're not a member of the AMMA, you want to be. I'm also on the board as sort of an adjunct member. I help them with some of their marketing, but they're working on stuff like legislation to get the definition of mead set, and also to get the rules changed so that mead isn't sort of being unfairly. Mead is taxed like way worse than ciders and beers, and so they enjoy like a much broader playing field than we have. So they're trying to get that playing field leveled somewhat so that we have an easier way to expand mead to the masses and getting it out there. There's a lot of new member services. They're also working with the University of California, Davis and the Robert Mondavi Institute to offer classes in home and professional mead making, as well as running a meadery, and there's experts behind the scenes there at the Holy Grail of fermentation to start to really dig into what makes mead tick. How, what's really happening back there? What is honey really, when you take it apart, what are its components, and how can we optimize that so we can make the best meads possible? So the AMMA is set on changing the mead world, and honestly, I think they're off to a pretty good start. So guys, welcome to the show. Again.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
But with your other hats on this time, so.
Yep.
So I want to hear from you guys. What is? I mean, I'm in on the meetings and I hear what you're talking about that. But what do you guys see as the big goal here? I know it's mainly. Well, I don't know what. Maybe I don't know. You tell me. What's the main goals here that you really want to see happen over the next, say, 5 years?
So I want to see mead become a mainstream beverage, so that it's not something that is considered for Renaissance fairs. That not every news article that talks about mead goes into it's the ancient beverage. It just becomes a little more common knowledge, and that it becomes in the mainstream. So, if you look at the American Mead Maker Association board, I think we won, what was it, Sergio, 29 medals just this past weekend.
29 total.
Yeah. I saw that. That was pretty cool.
And that's out of 11 members on the board. And, and that's pretty ridiculous, which is, there is a small group of people that can make exceptional mead, and we're all working very hard to share that knowledge so that everybody can make great mead and bring it to the next level. And the more of us that can make exceptional meads on a consistent basis, the more of us that are, all of us are going to win at the end. So yes, the tax rates on mead is substantially higher than it would be for beer or cider.
When you say substantially higher, what does that really look like? I think a lot of people out there probably have no idea.
So beer taxes are essentially flat. So they never have a cost of living increase to them. They've been 30 cents a gallon for a long, long time. And here in New Hampshire, for example, the tax rate on wine is 5% of sales. So that means that there's an automatic cost of living increase to that. So anytime we increase our sales price, the state of New Hampshire gets an extra 5%. Now, when we sell a bottle of Utopian number 9, Vicki, I think you can comment on this is heavenly nectar of gods. We're paying, upwards of 60 times more tax rate on that bottle or gallon of Utopian than we would sell if we were making beer.
Okay, so it's seriously significant. And does mead then tax like wine, or is it in a class all by itself?
So it's not in a class by itself. It's taxed like wine, but mead is closer to beer in that you make beer from water and hops and malts, and you make wine from yeast and the ingredient. But when you make mead, you also use water. And so, my argument to the state of New Hampshire legislators is that, what makes it closer to wine than closer to beer? It's made with honey. Because you can make honey and beer. You don't usually add honey to wine. Use water. You make water with beer. So, I'm trying to make the argument that if you're going to tax a beverage, a fermented beverage, why not tax it at the same rate? Why have a different standard?
That makes sense.
Kind of like taxing, your food. If you had a garden salad with cucumbers and tomatoes, charging your cucumber for one fee and a tomato for another fee.
I like that. That's a really good analogy. I don't know that, I think that would make sense to, well, maybe the people who are making those decisions. I wonder how much of this is just lack of knowledge on their part.
Well, there's a ton of lack of knowledge.
I hate to be devil's advocate, but if I'm making a mead that doesn't involve, or a wine that doesn't involve grapes, I do use a lot of water. So I would think it should be more on the alcohol level rather than the contents.
Let's play devil's advocate with that statement.
That's
so
fair.
Somebody like Sam Adams that makes a 23% beer still pays 30 cents a gallon.
Okay, that's fair. I'm Canadian, so I'm not sure exactly how all your tax laws work. I know ours are completely different, and probably equally weird.
I think the simplest thing would be just to abolish any kind of taxes. How about that?
I like Sergio's idea. Just stop taxing it altogether. It's too complicated.
Oh yeah, that would be lovely, but that doesn't work. The government needs its cut, or else they're not going to let us do it at all, right?
But even if they were to change the tax rate, it would be
double enthusiasm.
Just in the New Hampshire model, there's 23 wineries in the entire state of New Hampshire. The amount of wine that's produced by those 23 wineries produces, I think, about $100,000 a year in taxes, is what the state of New Hampshire says. Now, if you were to tax us at the wine rate or at the beer ratio, you're looking at 30 cents a gallon for what we sell here in New Hampshire, and they're worried about losing that $100,000. They could increase the wine or the tax to 31 cents a gallon across the spectrum for beer and wine, and all that lost revenue is made up. You can't split a penny between 24 bottles to get, or 12 bottles to get your gallon and raise that rate for consumers. It's just not going to happen. There'll be some, 2-cent raise for every case. I think the American population can cover that, in which we lower their wine fees in the state of New Hampshire.
Well, and that raises an interesting question. If the laws were magically tomorrow to be at the 30 cents a gallon that they're charging for beer, would you produce more?
Yes, absolutely. I'd hire another employee. I pay $10,000 a year in taxes just to the state of New Hampshire, just for the privilege of making it. So, I could certainly look into moving my winery to some other location, but then I'm going to lay off my entire staff. I was born and raised here in New Hampshire. It's called the live free or die state. They never said it was the tax-free or, screw the winemaker or mead maker.
Well, we don't know that wasn't what they were thinking, but I kind of doubt it when they set it up, since the folks that set up New Hampshire were big drinkers themselves,
Like
Probably just someone saw an excuse for profit.
We pay 6 cents a gallon for the cider. So it's 30 cents for beer, 6 cents for cider, and 5% of sales for wine.
That's just so strange that it's so different. And the thing that gets me is it seems likely that if they were to change the law so that it was a flat rate, whatever that might be, that increased volume and sales, and not to mention additional hiring of employees who themselves would be paying taxes and whatnot, would more than make up for the loss of the previous way of doing it.
But see, here's where the world's tilted, right? So when you come to the legislators in your state today and you try to talk to them about this, they say, well, we don't want to even the playing field for you, because these big companies have gotten the field tilted so much that they can be so successful. There's a Budweiser plant 15 miles from my house. They produce millions of gallons of beer a year.
Crazy.
My winery produced 20,000 gallons last year. Total, and that's what we sold worldwide. We're not even a drop in the waistline of their system.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here in Jersey. Yeah, I'm about 18 or 20 miles from the Newark and Anheuser-Busch plant. And they got a strong hold on state. And when you get into like regulations state-wise, I mean, now you got 50 states to worry about. The federal level is a whole other animal that the AMMA is trying to focus on, basically getting mead a more refined definition of exactly what mead is and how it's treated and how it can be labeled and what we can say on the labels without with PTB basically being there mainly to approve our labels to make sure that we're being, extremely clear and not misleading the consumer as to what's in the bottle. They sure as hell make it a hard time for us to do that in a lot of cases when it comes to labeling mead as well.
Right, and if you try to describe something on your label, like I made the one I started my company with, which is blackcurrant blueberry black cherry mead, and I originally thought I was going to call it a triple berry mellow, and they got back to me and said a cherry's not a berry and you can't say that, and I said okay, so we called it Desire instead, and then I said, well, the berry-like flavors of this, the fruits give it this kind of complexity, and they said, well, you're not using berry flavor and you can't use that on the label. I'm like, I'm not saying I use berry flavors. I'm trying to use an adjective or a descriptor of what I was trying to do. So, the mead makers today, what we're learned as a body, we're giving that information back. You join the American Mead Maker Association, you get on that website. Sergio's giving tips out there. I've been giving tips on how to make progress, and as many others. And, the community knowledge base is growing.
Cool. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, especially when you consider the association for what it is. You kind of compare it to, like, other organizations, like, let's say, the AHA. You don't really see too many professional brewers going on there and giving, like, amateurs advice, or people who are looking to start their own brewery any advice, directly, or have the capability to ask any of those professional brewers that you'd love to hear an answer from. Anything, directly at all. The AMMA is pretty unique in that respect where, we're all there. Just talking about the board of directors, like Michael said, we won 29 medals at the Mazer Cup on the commercial side of things. There's a really valuable resource there for people that are just making mead at home, that are trying to get some, answers, or somebody that's looking to start a meadery or already started a meadery that's trying to, figure out how to rectify an issue that they're having, or trying to figure out what kind of pump is going to be best to purchase. Anything big or small. There's a ton of people there that are, waiting to basically answer questions and willing to answer any question.
Yeah, we're starting to get our first trade members too. I've got some backlog of trade members actually trying to join up and become members to offer, discounts and supplies to, home mead makers and commercial mead makers. So, we've grown by, I think, a factor of 400% from last year to this year in membership dues and active members in the organization. And, we don't even think we've hit the median at this point.
Oh, yeah. Well,
there's nowhere even close.
Yeah, there's
nowhere even close. I think
300 meaderies just in the United States, and God knows how many home mead makers out there. I can't even begin to count. I wouldn't even know how to figure that out.
Yeah, we've had some good conversations with folks, and what we're trying to do for going forward, where, we're trying to look at getting a conference put together. The Mead for Your Diet, which is taking place at the end of April, is a competition where we use the proceeds to benefit the American Mead Maker Association. And you get a lot of great feedback from those types of competitions. So, it's such a, I don't want to say the word buzz. It's such a exciting time for all of us in the industry to move this to the next level. And we need some help. We have plenty of work to be done, and that's where we're trying to coordinate what members can do to help the organization and take it to the next level.
You mentioned a conference, so tell me more about that. Are we talking like AHA for mead, or what's the thought here?
Yeah, basically, I think the whole idea is like something like that. It's basically like an NHC for mead.
Okay.
if you would. I mean, presentations, definitely a night where commercial and amateur mead makers can pour their wares. We'll have vendors showcasing new equipment and supplies and whatnot. If you think of it as kind of like an NHC for mead, that's kind of what we're planning. And this is all basically all an idea right now. So this is something that we're definitely going to look into to not only basically give something back to the membership, but I think it's really going to benefit like the individual members of the association. I mean, this is, we definitely in need of something on the East Coast, like a really big, like the Mazer Cup, as great as it is, being like 2/3 of the way, all the way west as you could go. Something on the East Coast would be pretty interesting to give a lot of other mead makers a chance to try to attend somewhere closer to them, and have a little bit more, like maybe a day of presentations, have some different expos and hands-on simulations as to, how to make mead and best practices and answering questions. And I mean, anything that you could think of that would benefit an individual member, all in one place, like in one weekend sort of a thing, and all revolved kind of like around, another amateur and commercial mead competition. So think of it this way. Another idea that's also going to be entailed, and this is all obviously unofficial, all still ideas, but, the idea of creating, the first National Amateur Mead Maker of the Year award, where all the points throughout all the mead-only competitions throughout the year are tallied up, including the last competition at the AMMA backed mead conference, for example. So how cool would it be as an amateur mead maker to brag how you're the mead maker of the year?
That would be cool. I like that idea. So, okay. The AMMA is, at this moment, primarily professional mead makers. So what are you guys putting into place for the home folks? I mean, not all of them are wanting to start meaderies, although quite a few of them seem to be. What are just regular people like me, for instance? I don't ever want to open a meadery. I'm having way too much fun interviewing you guys. So, what's available for the rest of us?
50-50 split right now for amateur and commercial mead makers. I mean, I see daily mead, individuals joining up on a daily basis. So, we are starting to make some headway. And the question is, we're starting to generate, the online forums and stuff, and we're not trying to take away from the Got Mead sites, but we're trying to figure out how to give people access, to the professional mead makers for questions. How do we build that knowledge base? Sergio's put together a ton of new tools, or a ton of access to tools in one common location that, I've never even seen before. So, I'm finding it extremely helpful, and, it's all about the process of making better mead.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, you guys have all heard me say it enough times. A rising tide floats all boats. Got Me just got the ball rolling, and I am just loving the fact that there's so much mead just breaking out all over the place. It's just awesome. I think that's...
Well, that's the thing, too. It's all about, and I think like one of the core beliefs behind the association as well is it's encouraging great mead to be made.
Yes.
Anything involved around that principle is basically what we're all about, whether it's commercial or on the amateur side, because your amateur mead maker today could be the next big commercial meadery tomorrow. So the more that we offer, not just in, like a forum on a website or, different resources on a website, but basically different ideas to really get, home mead makers really honing in their craft, to make better mead, try to get to the next level, or not, but even having some goals for them to set themselves, even if they're not looking to go commercial. But anything to encourage great mead making is going to be beneficial to everybody all across the board.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. So, all right, what about meaderies and planning? And you got the guys that are sort of in that gray area, and they're not home, and yet they're not quite meaderies. What's the plan for them?
Yeah, so that membership option is going to be created. It's just a matter of going through the process through the board, basically to officially create it on the website. And we're also going to be creating the option for existing commercial, corporate level members of the AMMA to also be able to add on additional users, for employees or other owners of that commercial meadery to also have their own logins basically to the website. So all those things as far as like membership options are going to be added. All the details basically just have to be hashed out. But we're pretty much looking at the finish line on those items.
So you are going to have some sort of middle ground place then for those guys, girls,
right.
people.
Yeah,
what's the nice thing about all this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the nice thing about all this, Vicky, Sergio, was that, it's incremental. We're not like holding back, waiting to try to get this all perfect. We're a grassroots organization building and working, essentially changing the tires as we're driving down the highway. So, it's, a little lumpy and bumpy at times, but we're at least making progress. We're taking feedback from the organization. We're making this all happen.
I think the coolest thing too, after the AMMA meeting at the Mazer Cup, how many people stepped forward? How many members stepped forward that are not involved on the board of directors or in a subcommittee or anything like that? How many people stepped forward, more than willing to step in and help the organization as well? I thought that was pretty encouraging to see that much more support. It's an effort that everybody kind of has the opportunity to put in, and the more people that we have behind the organization to get what we want done actually accomplished, it's really great to see like all the people stepping up and willing to put in the time and effort. So I think there's a lot of great things coming up for the media industry, both commercial and on the home media making side of things. And it's pretty exciting to see where everything is going to go.
And it is a community-based organization. We don't view each other as competition. We view each other as colleagues in the industry. So, you have that camaraderie. Sergio and I were sitting at the same table going head-to-head for medal to medal.
Yeah.
And we came out exactly, 5 medals each, a gold, a silver, and 3 bronze. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations,
that was pretty
you
cool.
guys. I was watching and, being really bummed about not being able to watch in person, but, I was just watching all the posts. My entire feed was covered up with medal pictures. It was great. Literally,
it is all. It is. We all are colleagues, but obviously, especially in the competition setting, there's always going to be a competitive streak. So, Michael and I were looking at each other. He won a bronze, and then I won a bronze, and then he won a gold, and I'm like, damn. All right, I won a gold. And then we're looking at each other. We kept going back to back. It was pretty cool. We both basically won the same medal back, one after another.
I'm seeing like the guys standing, the Pawn Star guys, standing there with their arms crossed, kind of half back to back with each other, looking challenging at each other, like
But I think like Michael posted up on Facebook, though, I think the real star of the show at the Mazer Cup was definitely Superstition Meadery. Those guys rocked it this year. They brought him 4 golds and a silver.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to have judged the silver medal of theirs, but they really killed it this year.
Okay, guys out there, we've got Michael Fairbrother and Sergio Moutela, of respectively Moonlight Meadery and Melavino Meadery and AMMA board members. The call-in number is 803-443-MEAD. That's 803-443-6323. If you're international, you can Skype in to Meadwench, MEADWENCH, Meadwench. Think Tavern Wench, but with mead. So the lines are open if you have questions about the AMMA and anything that you have an interest in. Give us a holler. We're here and awaiting your call. And so, how'd the meeting go? It looked like from my perspective through the camera lens, it looked like it was doing okay. And you guys had a little bit too much fun with the with the feed. I'm sorry about that. I know how those things go. Well, they went like that for us today, so.
Oh yeah, that whole live stream was total last minute too. Yeah.
Well, it was, and considering it was total last minute, I thought you pulled it off rather well.
Well, it was great when I was sitting there at the table while others were speaking, and I saw, and I'm on the video live stream myself on my laptop at the table, and then I see a commercial pop up. I thought that was hilarious.
It was so funny because I know you were sitting there going, Vicky, shut up, because I was texting you like every 10 seconds.
I did.
Shut up, just stop texting me.
Browser.
Yeah, I figured you probably did. Yeah, because I'm like going, Sergio, the feed dropped again. Sergio, the chat just died. Sergio, it's not, because I was trying to keep him up to date because I figured he couldn't look at it all, and I was just letting him know. But I know you were sitting there cussing me.
Yeah. Oh,
that's funny, Vicky, because I was getting the same from Ken.
You were getting the same from who were you getting it from, Michael?
Ken Tram.
Oh, were you? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw his stuff popping up, too. So it was like, come on, guys.
Well, I saw it as, I'm an optimist, so I saw it as, I'm glad I have Vicky taking notes as to how we can improve for next year.
Well, that was what, and honestly, that was my intention. It was not in any way to criticize, but to just let you know what I saw from this end.
Absolutely.
That was, that was working and not working. But I still know I could hear you going, "Fucking bitch, stop this right now! Just shut up! Can't you see I'm busy?"
As every message was coming through, it was just like word for word what I was thinking myself in my head. I said, "All right, well, next year we got to do this, and next time we got to do that." So, it was the first time, but we definitely wanted to try to, give a chance for any of the members that weren't able to make it out to Colorado to have a chance to actually at least participate, witness or participate through the live chat too, and so I will personally guarantee next year is going to be 200 times better. It's going to be pretty seamless next year, where we actually have time to prep for it and test certain things before we even give it a try.
Well, and yeah, I mean that's really, I start to get heart palpitations about 2 hours before the show every week because I'm thinking what's going to break this week. So it's
how is it going to make us look stupid this week?
Yeah, exactly. So and I mean there's so many things that can work and not work and so forth and so on, but look, we've kept you guys a good while. You are welcome to stick around. We want to get Pete in here to talk about the other part of last weekend, which was the Mazer Cup itself. And you're welcome to hang about, and we can talk mead and Mazer Cup and all sorts of fun things. So up to you. But thank you so much for coming on. And giving people a little bit bigger picture, because the website's good, but I think it really helps people to hear it kind of from the horse's mouth, so to speak, what you guys are up to. Well, what we are up to, since I'm part of this game, and apparently I'm stuck in this particular position for another year. If I heard Michael right on the feed.
Yeah, well, the elections procedure will start October 1st. Nominating. I'm happy to be elected again for another 2-year period if the organization wants me to be there. But I'm happy to go back to running my company too, or be an ex officio on the board. So, I am all about the transparency and being able to let this organization grow. We've got a really good foundation underneath us at this point, and we're just trying to make sure we keep moving in the right direction.
Well, I think there's a lot of good people that are stepping up, like Sergio was saying, that are getting into it and will want to take and contribute. So I'm hoping to see a lot more of that happening as we go through the year, and you guys are doing more stuff, and they see, what can happen.
Excellent. Well, Vicky, I'm going to drop off because I haven't been home for a day in almost feels like 2 weeks.
I know, yeah. So, and thank you for, coming in so tight on the end of the Mazer Cup. I know everybody's whipped. I know what I feel like after the Mazer Cup. It's like being dragged through a knothole backwards. So a lot of fun.
The other great news is that the organization, we've got volunteers that really help pull together this mead branding thing. So you might see that I've been starting to post drink mead, and the some sell sheets and stuff that we're really starting to help and brand, and we've got pretty major magazines starting to interview us and talk to us about it. And the industry survey, third annual industry survey, is in progress at this point. So really good stats for anybody that might be a home mead maker looking to go pro, and seeing how some of us are starting to do and how we're growing our businesses.
Yeah, I like that, and I would like to be the first person notified when the T-shirts come out, because I thought that was a way cool. Just the drink mead, drink different, and just the way it was put together, it looks really good.
Yeah, I noticed the photo in the background of that shot with my meadery. I only noticed it today. Maybe it was subliminal why I liked it so much.
Yeah, well, yeah, say nobody's ever faulted you for not being willing to self-promote, Michael. So that's part of the reason why you're doing so well. So yeah, that's I'm a marketing person, so hey, you know my opinion on the matter. It's if it works, hey, as long as it's not hurting people and you're not lying, it's all good.
Great. Well, have a great night, folks. Cheers.
All right, thanks
very
on,
much.
Michael.
Bye, Mike. All right, guys. I'll get going too to give Pete the spotlight.
Well, thanks for being on, Sergio.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Sergio.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Pleasure as always. All right. Have a good night, guys.
All right, you too.
Night.
All right, so that was interesting. I know you're in Canada. We actually have John Way, who is, oh God, I can't think of his meadery. He's in, I want to say he's in central Canada, but like South Central Canada, like South Central LA. He's closer. He's down in the southern half of the country, but in the middle somewhere. But anyway, I think that's where he is. And like I say, I've told you before, my Canadian geography is a little fuzzy in the middle bits. But I know what the ends look like, but the middle part, not so much. But he is on the board as well, and so it's the American Mead Makers Association, but it's really the North American Mead Makers Association.
Yeah, to be fair, aside from the country and state specific stuff, I'm sure there's a lot of help for anybody who's just starting up.
Oh yeah.
A whole lot of people who've gotten together to make sure that you don't make all the mistakes that they already did, just so you don't have to do it again.
Oh yeah, it's totally worth it. I mean, the individual membership is, I think it's either $50 or $60, and you get access to like a stunning amount of, the pro guys going, when I was a home mead maker, this is what I figured, this is what I found out that worked, And then they're also talking about how they upsize. So some of them, like, here's how I upsize to 20 gallons, to 50 gallons, to 100 gallons. So
yeah, see, that is the stuff that I'll be going and looking for if and when I ever get my own winery off the ground. Please stay tuned. It'll be a couple of years of
yeah. Well, and we will follow the progress with great interest.
Yeah, well, it's going to take great money first, and I don't have a whole lot of that right now. So
I know. Well, I'll tell you, if you got the 50-60 to spare, I'd say go for the membership. It can't hurt, and I'll bet you'll pick up some good stuff that you can sock away for the gathering of information as you head in that direction. Yeah, it'll definitely be something I'm going to be considering the closer I get to actually going pro. Cool. Yeah, it's I was tickled. I'm in as an individual member, and I'm probably going to upgrade to trade because technically that's really what I am. So. Well, yeah, because that's now that's your business now. Well, I mean, Got Mead's always been part of one of my businesses, and technically Got Mead's always kind of been trade, but I've always just come into these things as an individual. But I think I'm going to go ahead and upgrade because, well, I mean, I want to be put that in and be part of that thing. So Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm gonna call Pete, and hopefully he didn't wander away from the phone waiting for us, and is like sucking down beer somewhere. So let's get him in here. All right. So you want me to start the next commercial? Yeah. All right. Go ahead and bring him in now. And it's gonna ring, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to stop that. I'll let you get organized first then. Yeah, we'll get him in here.
Hello.
Hey, Pete. It's Vicky.
Hey. Hey there.
Hey. He's sounding all like Vicky who. Got me
Pete, you're sounding
live.
a little limp.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize the area code. I was like, what the hell?
I thought about that. That's why I was just texting you to say, Pete, it's us. Hello.
Pick up. We're not telemarketers.
No, we're really not.
How's things going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm going to get your sound level up here. Have you got your live feed going there?
Yeah, I'm hearing an echo too.
Yeah, I'm hearing an echo, so I just didn't know. Or are you on the speaker?
Nope, not on the speaker. Hang on just a second. Let me put my earphones in.
Okay.
How about I read the commercial while you're doing that
Go
then?
for that. Yeah, why don't you?
Alrighty.
Sounds good.
Mazer Cup International is like the World Olympics of mead. As the largest mead-only competition in the world, the Mazer Cup draws entries from home and commercial mead makers from all over the planet, and yearly judges nearly 700 meads in the two competitions. In addition, they host the Mead Mixer, Open Pour, and Pairing event, which benefits the local food pantry, and last year put over 600 meals on tables of people in need with their donation. The event just happened this past weekend, but you can be in the know by signing up for their newsletter at www.mazercup.com and be on the forefront of announcements for upcoming Mazer Cups in 2017 and beyond. You can also find them at Facebook/MazerCup and at MazerCup on Twitter.
And we're back.
Oh yeah, you're getting a lot better tone too. You were sounding kind of, I don't know why, you were sounding really quiet before.
Ah. Well, I'm back and in one piece. So, excluding the flight last night from Denver was bumpy the whole doggone way. So,
oh no,
it was. It was funny because they started to serve stuff, and then one of the flight attendants got bounced up in the air slightly.
Oh no!
Oh no!
And so they scurried back to their little jumper seats and strapped in and said, we're going to suspend refreshments until we hit some smoother air, and then we just never did, really. I mean, there were patches here and there for a couple of minutes, but most of the time it was bumpy the whole way, so it was pretty windy. Yeah. We were bucking the headwinds all the way back.
Wow. I'm sorry. And if it wasn't enough that I know you came out of that, like, worn to the bone. I mean, you and I are always just sort of like limp as noodles on Sunday going, yeah, okay, we'll just order takeout, because the very idea of actually getting in the car and driving out to get food is just more than we can possibly handle.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's just order room service. It's just easier.
I know. Well,
they bring it to you, you eat it.
We didn't have that before.
Yeah, they bring it up to you. You have your... No, we didn't. And now it's like it's a totally different experience from the Outlook, and we loved the Outlook, and they treated us like family there. And the new venue is pretty much the same, except with just a very different environment, and it's huge. It's very elegant. People love it, and we're able to go downstairs, and people come in through the front door. And this year I was down there with like a little package of schedule of events and about the Mazer Cup and some little handouts to let people know what was going on through the course of the weekend and over the competition. And they come right in the door. They don't have anywhere else to look but right at me while I'm sitting there at the Mazer Cup. And then we had like a nice little tripod with the Mazer Cup and the schedule set up on it. So it was, we're actually getting all official. We've kind of outgrown the little mead competition that could and turned into something really, really big, and that's going to keep growing. And we're really looking forward to the evolution of the Mazer Cup International. As we grow and as the mead industry grows, there's going to be a lot of new things coming forward.
I just had that when you said you were right there in the entrance and they couldn't help but see you. I just had this Animal House moment where I saw you standing there going, Pete Bakulic, president of the Mazer Cup, damn glad to meet you.
Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly. I even used that line, except it was Eric Stratton, Russ Sherman, glad to meet you, It was,
I'm somehow not surprised, but that was just all of a sudden that mental image, and I was like, and I could totally see you doing that.
Oh, yeah. It was funny because we had a really successful mead mixer last year we were able to donate sufficient funds to get 6,000 meals out into the Boulder and Broomfield County areas.
Oh, thank you for correcting that. I got that number wrong.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is that this year we were able to double that, so we were able to fund 12,000 meals.
Oh, that's great.
And it's really an interesting. Yeah, so we basically doubled what we did last year, and we actually had the community food share there. We had a table for them with their handouts about the community food share, the work that they do. They put out a few million meals last year in that area, and I didn't realize the depth and breadth of what it is they do, but just we're talking millions of meals, and it's more than 1 or 2 million. It's like up above 2 million and into the 3 million mark, if I remember correctly. Wow. And one of the ladies there did a really great little presentation on it. I gave her the mic. I introduced them. You know, we kind of put the party on hold so everybody could see what we're working with there. And she just knocked it out of the park, telling about the work they do. 1 in 6 families in those 2 counties is food insecure. 1 in 6.
Wow.
That tells you how deeply, how deeply this problem that exists, and not only just in, the Boulder and Broomfield areas, but, probably around the country based on what I'm seeing in the number of community food shares. They're part of a national alliance. So this is a big problem, and it resonates with the local community, and it resonates with us, and we're just very happy that we partnered with them. But getting back to it, they talked about it. Everybody, that was there. All of the proceeds that we were able to get from the meat mixer, the table funds, the tickets that we sell, and the other associated sponsorships that go with it, that was everything that we were able to take in revenue-wise was donated to the community food share. So we're very, very happy about that, and they're just thrilled about it as well. So that's a really worthy cause, and we're very, very happy to be a part of it and to have chosen them as our philanthropic partner.
That's really cool. Awesome. I'm loving that it doubled from last year to this year. That's just stunning. And the photos I saw of the mixer, it looked like it was just jammed.
It was. It was out of control. Literally, we had just like everybody, going around doing great things. We had everybody from like a first freshly opened meadery. 801 Meadworks was there. To the Oregon State University, one of their, folks who comes and helps steward and judge, Jack Twilley, is working on a postgraduate degree there, or actually a graduate degree.
Oh, he came. Oh, cool. I'm sorry I missed him.
Yeah,
I like him. He's pretty neat.
Yeah, it was great. They set up a nice triangle tasting with little plastic souffle cups with different meads in them. And what a triangle tasting is 2 meads are the same, 1 mead is different. And it's up to you to figure out what it was, to figure out the one that's different. So you can smell it and taste it, and then you have to circle the number that it is. And so I walked up, and I, smelled it twice, and I go, okay, it's this one. He goes, you can taste them, too. And I go, oh, okay. So I tasted it, and I go, yeah, it's that one. So I circled it and went forward, and then he goes, yep, that's the one.
Well, yeah, I would have been surprised if you didn't get it right, Pete, okay?
I'm always afraid that I'm going to miss it, not because I don't know, but it's just, you always have that degree of uncertainty when you go into it, especially when, you're not there with your usual equipment, like your own tasting glass and your own, methodology and all that. It's kind of stacked against you, and that's why Pepsi always performs so well in the sip test, because sweet always beats savory. But in a standard take-home test, a 6-pack of each, Coke always wins. Sip test always wins with sweet. Savory test generally, most of the time, wins with, savory. Because you just can't keep sweet over and over and over and over again. And that's why in a head-to-head matchup, sweet generally wins in the sip test. So for all you Pepsi lovers out there, take a 6-pack of Coke home and try it. I'm not going to say which one I like, but let's just say that I fell in with the rest of the crowd.
Hang on, I got a guy who's wanting to come in on the show. So For those who aren't really, I mean, there's a lot of people that like know of the Mazer Cup, but they don't really know about the Mazer Cup. Talk a little bit about, how did this whole shindig get started? I know we sort of touched on that way back when you were on before, but I think it's worth revisiting.
Well, Ken started the Mazer Cup back in the early '90s, and it was really instantly a hit, a well-respected competition. And then time and business got in the way, and it sort of faded out. And around about the time that I got involved with the International Mead Festival, and David Meyer and Julia Hers and you and I had kind of a couple of powwows, and they said, well, we'd like to bring a home mead competition aboard. And I thought, well, gosh, that sounds like a great idea. So we decided, hey, let's go ahead and do that. And we talked to a few other competitions. Some of them were very open to working with us. Others were not. And we kind of took a view of all of them and kind of worked with an amalgam of what we saw in each of them that we thought was great, and the things that we thought we could work with, and things we thought probably wouldn't work in the kind of venue and the kind of event that we had there at the IMF. So we started at the Home Mead Makers competition, and that ran from about 2006 to 2004.
Yeah.
A little bit forward. And then, David was really generous to the mead community and really supportive, both financially and energy-wise. And it just took a lot out of him. So in 2007, that was the last IMF, home and commercial mead competition. In 2008, Vicky, myself, and some folks that we brought aboard, Glenn and Danny Exline, Wayne Bonchik, Kyle Byerly, and a few others, got together and said, hey,
this'll never do.
Are we going to do something about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, we couldn't let it stop, so we picked up, and we had another competition that year in 2008, and it went well.
Yeah.
And, we were all afraid that we wouldn't be able to support it, or we wouldn't be able to afford it, and you have all of those doubts, but once you start working on it, then you just surge forward.
Well, we were blessed, I think, with a good team. I mean, you knew some really amazing people, and I knew some really amazing people, and we were fortunate that they were willing to come and help. And I mean, Glenn and Danny, having run a big competition themselves, were godsend. I don't know that we could have ever pulled it off without them, honestly.
Right, and we used, and are still using the software that Glenn developed for Commander Zaz down in Florida, and every year we've been customizing it more and more and more for the Mazer Cup International. And in 2009, Ken came into the competition, and we were talking with him, all of us, and he really liked what we were doing with the competition. We really hadn't settled on a name for it. We were kicking around names, and Ken just says, well, why don't you just pick up the reins of the Mazer Cup and call it the Mazer Cup International and move forward with it. I like what you're doing. And we all looked at each other and said, well, gosh, yeah, we can do that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So with Ken's blessing and the other folks that were part of the whole initial wellspring of mead, really well-respected mead competitions, we kind of moved forward with it going into 2009, and we've been the Mazer Cup International ever since then. We've really broken some ground for mead competitions. We've got a really good staff of people. This year we had close to 124 volunteers with a judging pool of close to 75.
Nice.
That's huge, and this is a mead-only competition. It's really funny because it's not just one competition, it's two competitions. It's the commercial producers competition, it's the home producers competition. And each one of those competitions individually are still the largest competitions individually in the world. First, the commercial producers competition, and then the home producers competition. This year, combined between the two of them, we had 800 entries.
Good Lord.
Now think about it for a second.
Oh.
how many homebrew competitions are that big, let alone mead-only competitions?
Yeah.
Not many.
No, really. And and it's fun to do the math too. You figure 3 to 4 bottles per entry, 800 entries. I don't know how many of our listeners out there got to see the pictures. I know you guys will be putting up photos soon on the website and your social media, but it's always fun to see the mead room where the staging happens. And I saw somebody posted one. Apparently, it was at the end. Well, it had to be at the end because you're not allowed to take photos while it's going on. And they were like, I could die here. This is where I want to die, right here. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like 5,000 bottles of mead. You know.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the thing is that we can't just do it in one mead room anymore. We have to have multiple mead rooms.
Oh, have we spread it into more than one mead room? Oh my God.
Oh yeah, we did that 3 years ago. Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's true. That's true. We had the home and the commercial staging. I'm just thinking in terms of the commercial staging. It's like, you walk in and you expect like you expect like choirs of angelic choruses to sing you to your rest when you walk through the door. It's like Randolph Scott in Blazing Saddles. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny because just the home produced competition, bottle room where we're sorting and pouring and staging and sending it out to the judging tables has close to 1,400 bottles in it.
Crazy.
Alone. That's without
Wow.
That's without the commercial competition next door, which has close to 1,300 bottles.
So over 800 entries this year. I got that number wrong in the commercial too. I am such a dweeb. I tried to get you, but I knew you were napping and I didn't want to like totally bug you. But anyway, so where were we when we started? What was year one? How many did we have?
Well, the first year that we went out there, we had, I think it was 220 entries between the two competitions.
Which
and that
we
was
thought
enough
was
to double.
Huge.
Yeah, and it was enough to double Meadlinium, which was the biggest one at that time.
Yeah.
And so, we basically picked up from there and just kept growing every year, and we've been growing, over and over and over. In the last 5 years, I think we've grown, somewhere in the neighborhood of 35% each year, until we had to put entry caps on it because the judging pool wouldn't support the number of entries we were seeing. We're probably going to grow it again this year.
That's crazy.
So,
do you think
not by a whole lot.
Okay, so you probably won't cross 1,000 next year?
Well, I doubt it. Again, we have to have a consistently sized judging pool.
Yeah.
And, we have 2 days to do the judging. So it may necessitate opening another judging session on Thursday night, which will mean that, we have to push back things like the AMMA meeting and the sensory session that we do to kind of calibrate judges beforehand to the morning. And run those concurrent with the staging and sorting and not unpacking, but the staging of the bottles for the commercial entry, which starts on Friday. So in order to do that, we have to grow staff again. So we're going to be, pulling some more people aboard to take a look at how we can do this and how we can grow the competition realistically, without sacrificing the judging experience and the quality of what's being judged, and how that translates onto the paper when
Hey, are we back?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, Pete, you still here? Damn. Still there?
I'm back.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. It just cut out for a minute there.
Yeah, it booted me twice.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. All right, we're going to get Pete back here. And, hang on. Technical problems are so fun. All right.
Please be patient. God Mead Live is experiencing technical difficulties.
We need it's too bad we don't have visual. We could put up one of those little pictures that says experiencing technical playing elevator music.
It would have to be really, really bad elevator music.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's got to be really, really bad elevator music.
Terrible elevator music.
Yeah. All right, let's try that again.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, we're getting an echo again.
Life happens.
Yeah. All right, hang on. We're still okay. Cool. We're still on the air. Yeah. Hamish is going. Wait, what the heck? We just lost the feed. Oh wait, you're back. Are you still on the same headsets, Pete? I'm getting an echo.
Yeah, I'm still on the same setup.
Oh, that's weird.
Haven't changed.
Okay. Oh, that's probably me then. All right. So,
Pete, I was curious about the meads that you started out with versus the ones that you're getting these days. How has the quality of the meads that are submitted for competition changed?
So let's put it this way. We had a mead maker last year contact us during the course of the year saying, hey, listen, I got a 95 and a 94 on two of the entries I submitted into the category that I submitted to.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't win a medal. How is that possible? And so we went ahead and set the guy on one of the tables this year in the very category that he had entered. And after he judged that table, he came back and he said, now I understand.
Cool.
And what I'm speaking through here is just the outstanding quality of the mead that is coming in from the commercial producers now. It's just, it's just crazy good. And we have seen dramatic increases year to year to year, to the point of where when we do the mini best of show after the first round, as we head into the medal round for the commercial producers, the quality, the elegance, the integration, complexity, and structure of the meads that they're producing now is just phenomenal. And it's really gratifying to see that because, they're really upping their game and producing really excellent stuff because they want to walk away with a medal. We've heard it over and over again in the last couple of years that to the mead makers, the Mazer Cup is the mead Olympics. Walking home with a medal from the Mazer Cup is like walking home for a medal from the Olympics for mead makers.
Well,
and so just the overall quality is growing year after year after year, and it's the same way with the home producers.
Yeah.
We have people that are submitting things and they're getting these combined scores that are very, very high, and we get questions about, did this actually go to the second round? Did this actually get judged, in the mini best of show? And yes, it did. The problem is, even though your combined score was very, very high, it was on a table with 6 other meads that were higher. And your combined score in the mini best of show, is the technical grading has already been done. Now it's about which the best mead on the table is. And your score doesn't really factor into that. This is basically a beauty contest. Which one is the best? Which one tastes the best? Which one, would you drink a cup of this? Yeah. Would you finish the cup you have? Yeah. Would you drink a bottle? Yes. Would you buy a bottle if it was available? Hell yes. And that's the quality of the meads that we're seeing now. There's some categories that are new where people are kind of experimenting and, the quality is up and down and up and down. But as with any experimentation, you're going to see that. That's just the norm until somebody has it dialed in, and then look out.
Okay. It's cool that we're seeing so much improvement, and I'm getting a weird echo. It's just me, I guess. So,
yeah, and the improvement's there every year.
That's excellent. So, okay, for people who want to get involved, how do they do that?
Well, they sign up as volunteers. Sending an email to me or Glenn or Danny is, just going to get a reference to the volunteers. We like to work with people
that we know, that have a track history, that the rest of our volunteers know, because we're very careful about who we bring into the competition as staff and as volunteers, because we have a standard that we want to uphold. And if you have an unknown quantity and somebody comes in with the best of intentions, they may not have an idea of where we are as a competition and what our standards are. And we want to make sure that they all understand that. And as we move forward with our volunteers and our staff, we want to make sure that we continue to uphold that and make the experience for everyone there, home mead makers, judges, stewards, other volunteers, the meaderies themselves, and the people that come to cover this from the press and from folks like Meadology, and we had meadmaker.com there and meaddrinker.com there, Tyson and
Alan.
We want to make Alan, excuse me, sorry about that, Alan. We want to make sure that the people that get there, number one and most importantly, get the idea of what the Mazer Cup is and what we're all about. And number two, have a great time doing it. And so we want judges and table stewards and captains, table captains, and our judge directors, our competition directors. We want to have just as good a time as they have, and we want everybody across the board to have a good time. And so we want to make sure that everybody that's involved understands that and is willing to put their thoughts and ideas of what they want to do kind of on the back burner in favor of what the Mazer Cup International is trying to do. And that is to bring the best judging standards we can to the meads that are submitted and make sure that the best meads that are out there get awarded and make sure that there's a consistently high standard for meads submitted so that we will continue to experience that improvement across the board by all of the submissions. And I can guarantee you this year that was definitely the case.
Cool. Some of the listeners are saying that you're kind of quiet and they're having a little trouble hearing you. I don't know if your volume's down.
No, my volume's where it was when we started talking. How's that?
Yeah, maybe I think you're just talking quietly. Okay. So, I think a lot of people also want to know, what's it like judging at the Mazer Cup? I mean, you judged every year. I've judged every year since this thing started, so...
Well, it's kind of like a sitting down at a table, and as they bring the meads out, we switched to queued judging a few years ago. Instead of having a flight sheet where, each judging panel is presented with a flight sheet, and there's, let's say, 8 meads that are going to be judged in that flight, and then the head judge table figures out the order that they want them to be pulled in, and then they call for them either one at a time or have them all brought out at once. What we do now is, because our categories are so big now, we go ahead and we take several judging panels on some of our larger categories. Let's say we have 50 entries into the fruit mead or melomel category, and we'll take several judging panels, and we do when the judging panels are ready, they just put a card up in the air, and the stewards go back, and they pull the first mead on the list and take it to the first table that's out there, and they continue to do so. So we may have 4 panels working on the same category, so that means 4 different entries are being judged at the same time in that category. And as they call for the second one, so in 2 rounds, we've done, instead of just like 1 mead at a time per flight, we've done 4 meads, 8 meads in 2 quick rounds. And so we get through categories very quickly that way, and it really cuts down on the palate fatigue and the number of meads the judges actually have to go through, because the judges that work together and are faster than other judging panels will go at their own speed without being hampered by somebody on that judging panel that's slower, and vice versa. If somebody is on a slower judging panel, they can work at their own speed, at their own comfort level, without having to worry about keeping up with other judging panels. This way, the faster panels go through a little bit more quickly, and the slower panels proceed at their own pace, and everybody's happy because they're not being either held back or is asked to speed up. They all work at their own speed, where they're comfortable, and it works out really, really well.
Cool.
So when you hold up the card, that lets one of the stewards know that they need to take your panel number and go back and pull the next mead on that sheet, and they take the information. They go back to the sorting room and to the pouring room, and they submit that card to one of the stewards there, who then goes out and finds the next entry. They pull that entry and they go ahead and pour it. They put the numbers on the glasses because the judges never see the bottle. All they see is a glass with a number on it, so there's no way they know what it is they're judging. And it comes out to the table. It has the information about the mead. This is a traditional mead made from wildflower honey, and they write that down. It's still, it's sweet, and it's a standard strength instead of hydromel or sack. And they write all that information down, and then they start judging. The first thing they look at is the aroma. Does it present the honey well? Is there fruit flavor that's apparent, or fruit aroma apparent in the nose? Is there flower? Is there other things? Are there off characters? Are there special things in there that people, wouldn't normally see? And then they go to the appearance. Is it clear? Is it cloudy? Is it hazy? Is it turbid? Is it brilliant? Is it gem-like? And move on to the flavor and the mouthfeel. How well is it balanced? Is it structured? Does there have an integration of all the flavors there? Is it complex? Does that finish linger and present other flavors as it moves across the palate and as it develops after you've swallowed or spit? And we, of course, really encourage our judges to expectorate, because after 2 or 3 good, strong meads, you're going to start feeling the effects of the alcohol. And so you're not going to be giving out really good scores. So, we have spit cups and dump buckets on the table there for everybody to go ahead so they can swirl and spit and write down remarks. And so, you move through each mead that way, and you can keep the glasses on the table, or you can have the the stewards, take them back so you can keep the table clear. It's just up to the judge style, and we see people doing both. So I think everybody's very comfortable with that. If they want to keep the glasses on the table, they can. If they want to have them go away, they can. It's just fine either way, and that's really up to the judge or the head judge on the table, depending on how you want to do it.
Well, and you learn the hard way too. My first year, I did not spit.
You got hammered, didn't you?
Oh, first set was fortified meads.
Yeah.
It was not pretty, not at all.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
Pete.
It's funny because yes,
we get a lot of questions about show meads. What's the MCI feedback on that?
Well, we don't have a category for show mead. We have traditional and varietal.
Okay.
So show mead can mean a lot of different things depending on who you're talking to, and I think somewhere along the way, traditional got kind of morphed around into, just a straight traditional mead, meaning a straight mead made with honey, water, and yeast, and nothing else. No, like additions of oak or mint or anything like that. But actual traditional mead from any different country can mean a number of different things, because traditionally mead made in Europe and in different places would have any number of herbs or spices added to it depending on the time of year and what was available at hand. So traditional, I don't think means just honey, water, and yeast to a lot of people, but for our purposes, if somebody's submitting a traditional mead, it's going to be honey, yeast, and water mostly, with whatever you need to add to it in order to keep nutrients and in order to keep the nitrogen level up so you can complete the fermentation. Again, another one of those somewhere along the way, show mead started picking up the meaning of being just water, yeast, and honey, nothing else added. Again, we don't have a category for that. Our analogous category there would be varietal. So that would mean that's just all orange blossom honey, or just all mesquite honey, or just all macadamia nut honey. And so now with show mead, there's this whole thing about not adding any nutrients to it, and I don't see that being a realistic thing to do in many cases, because without that supplemental nutrient being added, it's you're going to have problems with keeping the fermentation strong. And no adjustments to it for pH. The same way, if your mead drops very, very high in acidity, you're going to have some issues with keeping the fermentation going, as well as if you run out of nitrogen, you're going to pick up reductive aromas and reductive flavors, and risk of stalled mead. So everybody has their own little hobby horse as far as nutrient additions. Everybody has their fancy little names for it, and their little ways of like, I only use this kind of supplement, or I only use this kind of nutrient, or I only use this kind of nutrient, and I have this calculation in order to make sure that I'm adding enough to make sure to get the right nitrogen level. But the thing is, I've seen a lot of scientific studies in the wine world where late additions, timed additions, and all that don't really matter as much as early additions. And you can go out there and look in the enology, the Journal of Enology and Viticulture, and see these kind of studies done over and over and over again. So the timing of nutrient additions and all that, I think with mead will be slightly different than in wine. But in a couple of studies that I have seen on mead, it seems to follow the same kind of course, maybe not parallel, but somewhat close.
Sorry, I had muted to keep down background noise. What tips can you offer folks? I mean, I saw a lot of people on forums and in the groups and that were saying, well, I don't know if I'm ready to enter my mead. How do I know?
Well, that's really easy. When you say, I don't really know if I'm ready, you've just answered your own question. If you're looking for answers to things that you don't know, then enter it, because the judges will tell you what's right or what's wrong with it and how to fix them. So if you're asking yourself, well, I don't really know if I'm ready, I don't know if I'm making good mead or bad mead, you've just answered your own question. Submit it, the judges will know. They'll tell you. And, they'll tell you in a nice way. That's one of the other things we're very conscious of, is if someone's taking the time to spend their own money to buy honey, to buy the yeast, to buy the nutrients, to buy the equipment to ferment it in, to spend the time and to buy the bottles and the capper and to cap the bottles or cork the bottles and send them to us, last thing in the world we want to go is, this is awful, you got to do this, and this. Because that person is never going to want to submit it to a show again for judging. So we're very conscious of saying, hey, okay, there's a couple of things here that can be changed in order to improve, and here's what they are. Take a look at your temperature when you're fermenting. Take a look at making sure to supplement those nutrients as the ferment proceeds. Take a look at your bottling. Take a look at your sanitation. All of these things factor into making really great mead. And if you have all of those things and you're following a recipe and you're bearing in mind all of the things that need to happen in order to make a really great mead, then you're going to have a lot better chance of making a great mead than absent any input from people who aren't you and aren't your friends, who want to be polite to you and say, hey, this is really good. And when you look the other way, they dump it out.
Sorry, muted again. Excuse me. So, yeah, I like that, because there's a lot of people who are very hesitant. I mean, my first mead when I entered it was not good. But I sent it into the original Mazer Cup, the one Ken was running way back when, knowing that it wasn't good enough, but wanting to know what wasn't working and how could I fix it.
And that's a really great reason to enter a contest, to find out the things. Or if you've got a recipe that you think is really good and you've gotten really good comments, really good honest comments back from your friend, but you feel there's something missing or something that can be improved, That's another really great reason to submit to a contest or a competition like the Mazer Cup, because you're going to have the greatest collection of mead minds out there, and it's going to get in front of judges who are going to be able to find those things in that mead that are either lacking or are there in overabundance, and tell you how to throttle back or how to bring them up. And again, that goes down to people who know mead and people who are enthusiastic about it being willing to sit down and go through 10, 20 meads in a day each, and to give good feedback that resonates with the person that was making the mead and looking for suggestions.
Okay. We've actually got Brandon from Malta on Skype, and he is asking, is there somewhere where they can where people can access the information of how the mead is scored so that they can try judging their own meads, not individual meads, but the sheets, the blank sheets themselves. Because he says this would be helpful for someone abroad who can't easily get their mead to a competition like the MCI.
So is he asking where we store the meads or where he should store the meads?
No. He's asking, can he get copies of blank score sheets?
Of blank score sheets?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All he needs to do is go to the bjcp.org and go to the mead supplies there. There's a section for mead, and he'll find a blank score sheet there that he can print out.
Fabulous. Great. Brandon, there you go. Go to bjcp.org under the mead section, and those are the score sheets we're using.
Yeah, definitely. And Brandon, thanks for calling in, man. Hope things out there in Malta are good. I bet you get some interesting honeys.
We got a cool and a great big smile. Okay, for those of you out there listening, we're talking to Pete Bakulic, president of the Mazer Cup International, and Oscar to those of you who know him on the forums and through Got Mead and through this. If you would like to call in and ask questions about the Mazer Cup or how things are done or whether your stuff should come in, call us at 803-443-MEAD, MEAD. That's 803-443-6323.
Direct or collect on your touch-tone phone.
That's it. Or if you're international, you can Skype me through Meadwench, and I can add you that way, or you can just type your question.
Yeah, we had a really good, it was one of the things that happened during the course of the year is that Stowski Distributing, who was our international receiver up until this year, decided that they didn't want to move forward with being a receiver for our entries any longer. And so they kind of left us out in the cold there. And not that, that wasn't anything other than a standard business decision, which we completely understand, and we're very grateful for their support in the past. Moving forward, although it presented somewhat of a problem for us to receive international mead. We thought, we're going to see a real big gap in our international entries and such, and that just wasn't the case. As a matter of fact, we saw absolutely no downturn in the number of entries that we received from international mead makers,
wow,
both, home and commercial. Wow. So it turned out really well. It looks like we have a couple of leads that we can follow now that look pretty promising. So we're going to track those down and see what we can do with them.
Okay. All right. Doug in the Netherlands asks, what role did UC Davis play in the Mazer Cup this year?
What role did UC Davis play?
Yeah. How are they involved?
Well, the only involvement they had usually is people from UC Davis coming to attend to see what it's all about. Although in the future we may be looking at having some of their School of Enology and Viticulture professors out to do seminars and such. So at this point, they are supportive. I'm involved with their mead courses out there at UC Davis, and I think we're working on coming together on some ideas for presenting some things in the way of seminars or multi-hour courses available at the Major Cup going forward. At least that's the vision that we have now. Making that happen a bit of a challenge because of the type of funding that it would take to get somebody of that caliber out in order to speak at the Major Cup. And in the meantime, we had someone, as I mentioned earlier, out from Oregon State University, and they're very, very aware of what's going on with mead as well, and they want to be involved. So, if it's not UC Davis, we may see somebody there from Oregon State University or from another university. We're open to any and all functions of academia that have wine or mead or beer programs, and have people that are wine or mead or beer scientists that are inclined to come out and share their knowledge with us and kind of help us build this competition into more of a symposium, somewhat like the Unified Wine and Grape Symposium held in Sacramento every year for the wine industry. They have, different seminars on different kinds of things in the wine world, setting up a tasting room, canopy management for the grapes, vineyard management, different fermentation techniques, fermentation science, as well as having a big industry hall where all of the barrel makers and glass providers and stainless folks and all the support industries can show up, and they have a table there and people can go around and take a look at them. So down the road, as we move forward and we get more and more entries and more people involved, obviously we're going to need to expand the competition so it is able to support the many industries moving in. And in order to do that, we need to be...
Sorry, you cut out on that last little bit there, Pete.
Well, in order to do that, to be able to be flexible enough to, recognize that opportunity and, make accommodations for it and grab onto it so that we can add it into our competition and growing into a symposium or into a festival, if you will.
Okay. So going into the future, then you see a fair amount of sideways expansion then into other areas, more activities.
Well, I see it, opportunities for all these things to happen, and the Major Cup, we need to leverage ourselves and the momentum that we have to being able to catch on to these when they're available and add them into our program over the course of, if it's right now, basically, we have a Thursday, Friday, Saturday kind of presence, and this may grow into a full week, starting on instead of on a Thursday, maybe it starts up on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or even Monday, a week-long thing. It just depends on where the industry goes and how we grow along with the industry as it grows, and being able to accommodate things, as well as recognizing trends in the industry. For instance, the popularity of session meads and the growth of that particular sector now. We have a number of entries in that. We split that out from just session mead to sweet, semi-sweet, and dry. And we're looking possibly at expanding that again into fruit and spice and other categories. And, I know you had Frank Goldbeck out from Golden Coast Meadery not too long ago, and he's big into the wild fermentation stuff. And so that's another category in our experimental area, or open specialty, where we can start expanding categories as well. So as these things pop up in the industry, we want to be able to recognize them and accommodate for them and pull that into the competition, as well as if we have any continuing education for commercial producers, we'd like to get people in who are experts in that category and have them speak on it, whether that's from academia or whether it's from industry. The information is just as valuable coming from each.
That sounds amazing. I can't wait to see where things go in future years.
Me too.
Sounds like the trend is going from towards fewer and fewer weirdo-mells and more different categories.
Well, the weirdo-mel will have its own category. I don't know that we call it weirdo-mel, but one man's weirdo-mel is another man's spiced fruit mead, or a wild fermented mead, or a breaded mead made with a saison yeast, or a eggplant, pomegranate, horseradish, salmon omel.
Wait, we had a horseradish one that one year. That was different.
Yeah, it was different. But it's funny because, I heard over and over from a lot of the commercial producers that were judging the home competition, man, these home meat makers are really thinking outside the box. And I said, there is no box. That box went away years ago.
Oh, yeah.
There's no box. There is no rectangle involved in the home meat making world. They just run with it and come up with these brilliant different kinds of ideas. And it's really starting to take hold in the commercial producing industry as well. We see all kinds of really creative different needs out there coming from commercial producers now. And so they've pretty much left the box behind as well. And again, just with phenomenal quality and just really great attention to detail and the process and the fermentation and sanitation, making sure that everything is being produced in the most favorable possible condition as possible.
I love it. I mean, just the creativity that's happening out there is just stunning. I mean, I've been in this long enough now to see categories get created, to see styles be invented, and it's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is what really makes the mead world great, is that the emerging styles that we see, along with the popularity of different kinds of fermentation methodologies and different kinds of yeast or even bacteria. We saw at the UC Davis just earlier in the year, in February when I was up there, Chick Brenneman, along with the assistant winemaker there at UC Davis, did 3 different meads with non-Saccharomyces cerevisiae yeast. And they were all right in there with the stuff that was produced by, commercially available yeast strains via the cerevisiae or Baianus. One of them was the Starmarella bachellaris, and it produced a very nice mead. It needed some time, it needed to integrate, and probably some changes in the fermentation process, but, the basics were there. So it's not just for breakfast anymore. There are many different ways to get there, and many different vehicles, be it yeast or bacteria to get to that end. And it's really up to the imagination of the mead maker and where he wants to go. This is, the sciencey part of it is there. You have to know the science in order to make it work. But once the science is become second nature to you, and you're used to working with certain kinds of honeys in certain kinds of ways, with certain kinds of yeast or whatever it is you're choosing to make that fermentation happen, then it becomes art. Because once you've got the basics, handled, and you can make a strong basic recipe, then it's all about improvising. And really that's what we're starting to see now, is people who have a very strong grasp of the basics, who can make, a basic mead and make it well over and over and over again, are now branching out and taking that knowledge of the basics and using it to improvise and make these wonderfully complex and structured meads that sit as any table as any Burgundy or Bordeaux or Rhone wine or Rioja or Champagne. This is all phenomenal stuff that we're seeing now. It's world class. We have specific information now about fermentation, and mead, the fermented beverage made from honey, is out there and it is competing everywhere.
It's so cool seeing all this happen, and having been inside of it, sometimes it's hard to see the trends without stepping out and talking back into somebody who's inside like you. Like you're being right now, so I can stand over here and go, oh wow, look at this.
Yeah, it's really neat. I mean, I'm just glad I'm a part of it. I've waited a long time for somebody else that's just me, way back when, that knew anything about it, and all of a sudden there's just been this explosion of great information and great techniques and great, all kinds of great ways to produce great mead, and it's really gratifying to see that.
It really is. Well, I know you're like the guys earlier. You're worn out. You've been a busy guy for the last 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, we've really worked pretty hard. The whole crew just killed it this year. We did an absolutely brilliant job of putting this thing on. We got a lot of just really great and really sincere feedback from all of the participants. Home mead makers, commercial mead makers, the community food share, the hotel itself. They love us. We're a lot of fun according to them, and we want to keep doing that and making it that way. So, for us, it was a really good year. We're very, very happy that people enjoyed it, and we want to keep improving that experience as well. Not just for the people that are mead centric that come in there, the people that make it, or the people that drink it, or the people that are enthused about it, but the new people. I met a couple of people there who I overheard talking, and they don't make mead themselves. They're not part of any forums. They don't belong to any clubs or anything like that. But they were just there to come to the mead mixer to see if the two of them could find one mead that they both liked. And so while I was in the mead mixer, I found them over at the table, and I walked over and said, "Hey, how are you guys doing?" And they got big smiles on their faces. "We're doing great." And I go, "Did you folks find any meads that you both like?" And they go, "We haven't even been around one side, and we've already found 3 that we both like."
Oh, great.
Nice.
Exactly. And so to me, that speaks volumes. These are 2 people that, couldn't agree on one mead, and all of a sudden, in less than an hour, in less than one side of a 4-walled room, they found 3 that they like together. So that should speak out to the universal appeal of mead. Wine lovers will like it. Beer drinkers will like it. There's this notion that mead always has to be sweet. It doesn't, as anybody who's actually tried it would know. So go out there, experience it, give it a try. Find the things you like. Find the things you don't like. Find the things that resonate with you and others, and share it, because that's what mead's all about.
Well, what is it that Michael Fairbrother was saying earlier? They've got this new piece of advertising. It's called "Drink Different, Drink Mead."
Yeah, and what a great idea, because it is different. And that's one thing I can't tell you how many people who I've met that don't like wine or don't like beer, but you sit mead in front of them, they go, "Oh, this isn't, harsh like wine, and it's not like, foamy and bubbly and filling like beer. This is very different. This is really good." It's like, yes, try it. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell everyone. There's a mead out there for everyone, and everyone can appreciate it, even if it's something that's completely off kilter. If you don't like the high alcohol of wine, get a session mead. If you don't like the the foaminess of beer, try something different with mead. It's really up to the imagination of the person that wants to try something new to go out and do it. And the mead market is really filling that gap. It's the fastest growing sector in the adult beverage industry.
It really is. And I hark back to what David Myers used to say in Redstone. He says he would go in a place to say, "Ask for mead." Just ask for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, I know you're whipped. So we're going to let you get back to being whipped and recovering from the Mazer Cup.
Well, thank you. And AJ, it was great speaking with you again tonight, and Vicki the same. It's always a pleasure to hop onto the show and talk, and it's always nice that people will actually listen to anything that I have to say. I still kind of look at myself in a mirror when I'm talking and think to myself, why would anybody want to listen to me? But rightly or wrongly, I guess they do, so that's a good thing. And hey, Doug, I know Doug from the Netherlands called in. I'd like to say, give him a shout-out. We had a conversation going about a nutrient calculator and things like that. I haven't been able to get back to him because I've been so pickin' busy with the Mazer Cup since last year, but just to let him know that I did put those questions out there in front of people at UC Davis, and so I'll get back to him. It's just a matter of time, and I'm sorry it's taking so long, Doug, so I hope everything's going well with you out there.
No, he's typing back. He must have heard you.
Oh, okay, good.
He says, "Hi, Pete."
Yeah. So.
Hi, Pete.
Yeah, so it's just been crazy busy, and we're looking at an even busier schedule. We're already planning out to 2018. So it's
Wow.
we are hard at it already again.
It gets
like a full-time job on top of the full-time job.
Well, I mean, come on, what were we doing before? When it was just getting started, it was 70, 80, 90, 100 hours. Then it was 200 hours. Then it was like 300 or 400 hours a year that we're putting into putting this together.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of time.
It does.
Really does. Time
It really
and
does.
patience.
A shout out.
That will eventually wear down to that.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to all the people who volunteered and judged at the Mazer Cup this year, because y'all rock out loud. I mean, I know, been there too.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'd really like to acknowledge is, the competition is only good as the volunteers and the people that are actually doing, the picking up the bottles and the clearing of tables and bringing the meat out to the table, the judges, the stewards and the pouring staff and everybody else there. I mean, what a great collection of people who are willing to take their time off to come out and volunteer to work their asses into the ground for a bottle of meat. And I just want to say that I can't thank them enough for making our competition so successful, because without them we wouldn't have a competition. And, one of the other things that really helps make the competition is the sponsors that we have. And I'd really like to thank all of our sponsors this year. And I hope I remember all of their names. I know we had Elite Brands, who receive our domestic entries. We had Rabbit's Foot, Hunter's Moon Mead, Meadmaker.com, Dragon Mead, Hidden Legend Winery, who's been a long-time sponsor as well. Hunter's Moon also sponsored the sensory session by sending a couple bottles of mead in. Moonlight sponsored the BJCP mead exam with some mead for them to evaluate. Nectar Creek, and I'm hoping I'm remembering everybody.
Got mead.
Got mead, and of course, the raft people who are, who come in and help. All the folks that do the publication for us, and the mead mixer tables. All of those folks, all of their money went to support the community food share, and we were able to donate enough to support 12,000 meals. So everybody there can, hang their hat on that. That's a really great accomplishment, and I'm glad that we had so many people being a part of that. So
that's amazing.
That's a great thing. Amazing. Yeah, it really is. And so with that, it's reached about the end of where I'm talking.
Yeah. Well, and I want to let you get, back to, like I say, being really tired.
All right. AJ, how's the weather up there in Canada, eh?
It's snowing again, and we're supposed to get another 6 inches on Thursday.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's
it's
great.
Funny, because thanks for reminding me. We, the California boy here flew out to Denver, and the first night I'm there, I see a little bit of snow flurry. The next morning, they say that it's going to start snowing, and it's going to be a lot of snow on Friday. Well, Thursday morning, when I went out there to start meeting and greeting people as they come into the hotel to check in, it's snowing like there's a blizzard outside. It was great. And then I'm thinking to myself, oh, wait a second. We had this problem once before. If it snows a lot, we're going to be missing judges. So Friday morning, I think they'd gotten like 4 or 6 inches or something like that. And, of course, there's cars spun out all over the road. The parking lot, it hasn't been, snow plowed. And I'm going like, yeah, this is going to be a problem. Sure enough, we had a number of people that were, took 3 times as long to get to the hotel as it would have normally without the snow. So it's a mixed blessing. But that Friday morning when we were judging commercials, the first round that I'm judging, I'm sitting at a table, and my seat is facing the window, and the window is open, and I just see the snow falling and settling onto the bushes and the plants around and just making everything white outside. It was the most wonderful kind of view that you could have when you're judging mead, and
cool.
We all just sat there and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I saw y'all posting pictures of the whiteout, and I was so jealous.
It was fun.
It looked like it was. Well, look, dude, you know you're going to be back again. I'm not going to let you think that you won't be, but go get some rest, and good job.
Alrighty.
You know, great event. Everything sounds like it went fabulously.
Yeah, we had a great time, and thanks so much for having us on. We really
Thank you so much for having taken some time out of your recovery to talk to us.
Thank you. And I will hang up now and say hello to all those people out there that love mead, and I wish you the best. And keep making mead if you're a home mead maker, and keep trying new things if you're not. I'll talk to you all soon.
Sounds good, Pete. Thanks, hon.
Bye, Pete.
Good night.
Night. Okay.
Yay, the echo is gone.
I don't know what's going on with his mic, but there's something there. I don't know. I'll talk to him privately and see if maybe he's having trouble with his headset or something.
Oh.
Yeah, I was getting really good. I was having to remember my old radio days when you always had that 2-second delay and you had to be able to talk over that to do your DJing. Because they did it on purpose then, so you could hear what you sounded like, and you just had to get used to it. And at first, you know, you talk like a drunk person, you know, until you get the hang of it. But I just kind of tuned it out. But yeah, so guys out there, if you're thinking about, you know, if you've ever even considered the possibility of putting your meat into a competition, you should. And it doesn't have to be the Mazer Cup. Do it at local comp. Do it at regional comp. Do it at the Mazer Cup and Mead for Your Die. Do it at, you know, at the...
At the local pagan gathering is where mine got entered.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was entering, and
Yeah.
I got some really good feedback from it, even from even from non-professional judges.
Yeah, take it to an SCA event, to the Domers Cup. I mean, there are so many places where you can get good...
honest feedback.
Yeah, non-partisan feedback, where it's not your friends going, dude, this stuff is so good, when it's not, you know.
Or not that it isn't, or that maybe that they just don't necessarily know.
Or they might not know, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, your friends are going to say nice things. And if you honestly want to know what's working and what isn't, take it to a competition. Because that's the best way to find out. I mean, mine, oh my God, my first mead got dinged in every possible way, but I got some amazing feedback. And yeah, it kind of hurt to have them say, yeah, dude, no, this is so not ready to drink yet. But at the same time, they were like, but if you do this and this and this, and give it some more aging, and
give it 10 years.
Yeah, it was actually 3 years is what it ended up being, and it was Nectar of the Gods. At that point, I had like one bottle of it left. I'm like, fuck, yeah. So
right.
I actually found the recipe the other day. I'm like, I'm gonna try that again and see if with fermentation management, if I can actually make it taste good. I don't know. We'll find out. But it's you know, but it was the feedback I got was invaluable, and honestly, the feedback I got from that was probably what ultimately ended up launching Got Mead.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's because suddenly I realized that I wasn't alone. That there was other people out there who were interested in that, and I thought, wow, how many other people are out there thinking, well, it's just me and I'm doing this and nobody has any idea what this stuff is, and so how would they know if it's good or not? I don't even know if it's good or not.
That's okay, that's a really good point.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, it's less of that now. You know, I mean, our world is a bigger world mead-wise. It's you know, there's a lot more of us than there was 25 years ago, but there are people who feel isolated, who don't think that they've got a community. Well, we're there, we're out there, and we want to know what you're making, and we're interested. So, you know.
And I guess the thing to remember with competitions is that you have to figure out whether you're in it to win or in it to get feedback.
Oh yeah, I could care less about the winning. I mean, the medals are nice and all. I mean, I don't mind. I got my share of, you know, medals and mazers and whatnot, and that's sweet. But honestly, I'm in it to get feedback. I want to know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And somebody who knows what they're looking for can tell you that.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, to have Ken Schramm, and this was back in like 1992, okay? To have Ken Schramm, it's like, yeah.
We need to get a soundbite of that,
Yeah, I think I may actually have a sound effect for that somewhere. This thing has cool sound effects. I just got to track them all down. I just haven't had a chance to go cue them all up and play with them. But yeah, we need the Randolph Scott choirs of thing, Ken Schramm, he's rolling his eyes if he's listening
We're not
right
worthy.
now. Yeah, he's rolling his eyes if he's listening. It's like, Ken Schramm, we're not worthy, dude. We're not worthy. Chun 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 chun. So it happens when half a bottle of mead later. Okay, so guys, that is we've got a few shout outs here at the end. Upcoming events, the next good size competition happening, and people out there, if you've got a local competition that you'd like us to announce, all you got to do is send it to gotmeadlive@gotmeadlive.com. We will be happy to announce your event. Give us the name of the event, the date of the event, and if you've got a website, the website of the event, so that we can let people know you're out there. The next one I know of, off the top of my head, is Mead Free or Die. This is the event put on by Michael Fairbrother, and Michael, please forgive me, I cannot remember who you're partnering with. Isn't it Ash? Is it Saphouse you're partnering with? I can't remember. But anyway, he's partnering with another meadery, and they put this on, and all proceeds go to help the AMMA, who was, them on earlier, to further the research, study, and expansion of mead in the world. So it's a great competition, and good size. It's up in New Hampshire at the end of the month. I would love to go up and judge. Sadly, I have another event that I have to be at down here in the South that weekend, so not for me, not this year. I'm hoping next year. So Mead Free or Die. It is meadfreeordie.com. New Hampshire, live free or die. It's like that. Our next guest is, I'll let AJ do this because she's the one who found this next guest for us.
Well, everybody on Got Mead has heard at least once or twice about the BOMM, B-O-M-M, Bray's 1 month mead. Well, we've got Bray coming on to talk to us, so we'll be talking about mead making with Bray. We'll be talking to Bray of Bray's 1 month mead. So we'll be talking about techniques and recipes and who knows what all else. So call in and join us.
This one's going to be more of an open party kind of thing. Bray's going to come on and talk about his technique, and I'm kind of curious how he came up with this thing. This should be really interesting. And
well, I remember from early on reading how he did his experiments and he logged them all on Got Mead.
Oh, did he? So okay.
Yeah, it's there, and he said what he did and what yeasts he came up with, and I want to hear about the whole process again. And all the refinements and stuff that he's come up with since.
Oh yeah, totally. Because I'm sure he's fine-tuned that thing. And if all things work out, in case you guys don't know, Bray's actually a musician, a professional musician, and he said he might actually do some custom intro, outro stuff for us. So we're kind of excited about that. AJ and I are talking to him right now and trying to decide upon just the right music, and then we've got to set up the voiceover. But soon, maybe. Next couple of episodes, we'll have an actual professional intro and outro, and we're really tickled about that.
We'll actually have our shit together.
Yeah,
Who said that?
Yeah, don't say that. Things will start to break, dude. Yeah, as soon as we go off air today, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna write down like every single setting on every single program, and so next week it isn't gonna be like, why isn't this not working?
And we'll start an hour before live.
Oh God, yeah, both of us were down to the wire today. Yeah. So it's like, life. Darn it, interfering with our hobbies once again. So that's our show, guys.
Actually, no, for me it was my hobbies interfering with my other hobbies.
Yeah, well, there's that too. Yeah, there's that. So that's our show for this week, guys. We'll be back next week with BOMM and Bray, of the inventor of the BOMM, and hopefully we will get insights never heretofore explained to the public. I don't know. We'll find out. And you'll have to tune in to find out, too. So be ready, have time, be somewhere, and call in and join the conversation. And just one last shout out to Chris from Miss. I hope all is going well out there. Haven't heard from you in a bit. I'm going to drop you an email tomorrow just to check in on you. And just want to say, hey, we're thinking about you, man.
Yeah, hope everything's going out well for you.
Yeah, we miss seeing you on the show. So hopefully we'll hear from you soon. All right, so say goodnight, AJ.
Good night, AJ. Say good night, Vicky.
Good night, Vicky.